I'm here in the office of Billy Napier, who this is a very interesting last month or so for you. And I imagine the class you signed today, I mean, it reflects that. I'm thinking about like a guy named Hilton Stubbs, who you just signed today. I know is a guy that you guys were on the entirety of this recruiting cycle. He flips to you recently. But how much were you talking to him through the offseason, the downs of the beginning of the season, and then as you guys got better?
Well, I mean, I think the majority of the recruitment is done, throughout the winter, the spring, and the summer, and then you kind of get in the submarine for the season and work your way through that. So, look, with a lot of families, we had to prove it on the field. I felt like that was one of the biggest holdups with this last class, and I think obviously the vote of confidence and then how we competed and played and had some big wins. I think that contributed to a lot of these players. Drake Stubbs would be in that group of players that kind of, hey, all they wanted to see was us have some stability and prove our on-the-field product could be effective for them.
Well, and that for you, I'm sure, was gratifying as the season went on because you were the one who kept saying, I see it, it's there, and then it didn't express itself on the field, and then you saw it starting to shift a little bit, and then by the end of the season, it looked like a completely different team. When you were talking to recruits, did their tone change towards you as that changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we just finished second on a lot of guys, that ultimately probably if we had stability, if we had played really well, if the brand of football, the quality of the football looked like a competitive contender, I think they would already been Gators, So obviously we anticipated playing really well. So we stayed in touch with all those guys that we felt like we were close on, and we were able to go back in there in the final month or so, and a lot of those guys joined our team.
You got a quarterback that people seem to enjoy playing with who do play with him now, but I'm curious when you talk to class of 26 guys, when you're going to probably be talking next week to guys who are in the transfer portal. How excited are people to play with DJ Lagway?
Well, number one, I think nowadays you're recruiting about 4 groups of people, right? So player retention is a big piece of the puzzle, right? So the first thing you got to do is we got to go secure all these good players that we have on our team that are coming back. And I do think the DJ and the way he showed promise this year and the way he competed and the production and his leadership and the way he's connected with his teammates, I think that's going to help us retain players. And there's no doubt this 25 group, they're excited about him and want to be a part of what we're doing here for sure.
How much role does he play in talking to guys and starting next week, talking to the guys who might want to come into the portal?
Yeah, no, I think we try to include as many players as possible, with portal recruitment. We not only want to find out, we know the physical part, we've done all the evaluations, but do they fit? Will they get along with the guys?
Yeah.
That's an area where last year I thought we did really good work. Not only a lot of productive players, but guys that brought more than just the talent to the team.
So you look at the way this team evolved as the season went on. Clearly, it enjoyed playing together. They liked playing for you guys because a lot of teams would have just quit at a certain point. And instead of quitting, they improved dramatically. How much does going through that help the guys that are coming back, that are talking to these future players?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, I think just the confidence, the belief. You work extremely hard. You want to feel like it's working. And I think ultimately, we've talked a lot about how I think belief is probably one of the more powerful things you can experience. So we got a ton of confidence because I think they've worked hard. They feel as if it worked, it paid off, and now they're playing the way they wanted to play in the very beginning. So, look, I think I couldn't be more complimentary of our players relative to how they handled that. I think what you're saying is true, and I think that it gives us a ton of confidence heading into next year.
Because that's what I feel like, that locker room after the Ole Miss game or after the LSU game, that would be probably where, if someone's trying to decide if they want to join up with you, that would be where they go, okay, maybe this is who I want to, hitch my wagon to.
Yeah, we've worked hard on the player experience here. And every one of these guys that we've recruited, we've pitched hey, you got to be up for the challenge. We have work to do to get Florida back to where it's been before. This is how we're going to do it. We're in the middle of that journey. You can be a part of that. And so I think that they came here understanding it would be a challenge. There would be good days and bad days. And I think they're tough-minded, and they came here with a vision of doing what we're trying to do.
So when you talk to these guys that are coming back, when you talk to these guys that are coming in, what do you tell them about taking the next step? Because obviously it was very promising the way the season ended, but you would probably like to do that the whole season next year.
Yeah, no, I think it starts with accountability at the player level, right? Their approach to how they prepare. There's an element to learning how to win. I think that we understand what winning football looks like, and then we learn how to go do that. It's one thing to prepare all week, and then once the ball gets spotted, then it becomes about doing it in the moment. And I think that they learned as competitors how to be in the moment, and obviously they learned how to win.
So you signed this class today. Monday the portal opens. That's another different kind of recruiting. Has your philosophy toward that changed during your time here at Florida?
I think what we've learned is that you got multiple opportunities to add players to your team. When we initially got here, it was all very new, and maybe we lacked resources to be competitive or be aggressive. And I think as we built our system and we've acquired the resources now, it's just really about, okay, what do we need? I think we never compromise the evaluation. They got to pass that part. They've got to fit from a cultural standpoint. And then, we may have some attrition.
Yeah.
And we may miss out on a couple of high school players. And then we see where we're at today. We see how many of these guys we can retain. And then we have the resources and the ability to go recruit and plug in the needs that we have. So we'll be very strategic about that, and we're fortunate that we have the resources to go get it done.
And that's probably frees you up, imagine, when you decide, okay, let's go get this guy.
Well, one of the things it does, if you got resources to replace, then people say I'm an old school guy, but I think nowadays we should have high expectations. We should be very demanding. There should be a high level of accountability.
It's his boss.
Yeah. And I think
Scott Strickland just joining us briefly.
Part of the equation is, now you can focus on culture. You can focus on the football part and really develop these guys at a high level. So I think that, these guys are basically employees now to some degree. So it's their first job. And while they're playing football, we want to create an environment here where we teach values, they get their education, and ultimately they're using football, and they're well-rounded, they're equipped, and they're educated for the future.
My first job was at a furniture store, working in the back, smashing boxes for a guy who had an eye patch. So the first job working for you is a lot better. Billy, your boss is here. I think you probably got to give a signing day report. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.